Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Tyler, and this is the channel Tyler Reads Books, where I talk about the different books that I am reading on my reading journey. I feel like for every reader, the time comes to talk about the worst book that you have ever read. And honestly, up until this point in my reading journey, I've enjoyed pretty much every book that I've read. I've always found something that I liked to take away from it, something that I enjoyed. I would either hear somebody else talk about the book, or I would read Goodreads or Fable reviews or read reviews from my library. And so I feel like my list has been pretty curated for me of just good books. I've enjoyed a lot of the things that I've been reading until this last week. Unfortunately, I read what I would deem as the worst book that I've ever read, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit just because sometimes you can pick up a book and know nothing about it and think, I'm really going to enjoy this book. And sometimes it works out great, and sometimes it totally falls flat and it doesn't work out at all. And unfortunately for me, that happened in this last week. I was at the library a couple weeks ago and I picked up a book that I saw on a shelf that I was just like, that looks really interesting. The back of the book was intriguing to me. And I was like, I know nothing about it. I know nothing about the author. I totally want to give it a try. So the book is called Boy with Accidental Dinosaur by Ian McDonald. And I just thought that the cover was interesting, and then the back was what really kind of drew me in. It says, How to Train Your Dragon meets Mad Max in the story of an orphan in a fractured Southwest who just wants to ride a dinosaur under the lights. Come one, come all to the dinosaur rodeo. And I enjoy short stories. I liked the idea of this sci-fi world, Mad Max meets How to Train Your Dragon with dinosaurs and dinosaur rodeos and all this. I was like, this is going to be great. I'm excited. I'm going on vacation. I'm going to pick up this book. I'm going to read it. And my goodness, this book was rough. It was very, very, very difficult to get through. At first, I thought maybe it was just the style of writing that the author was choosing, but it was really clunky and really difficult to follow. And as I continued to go through the story, I realized this really isn't even about him wanting to ride dinosaurs. And honestly, I'm not really sure what the point of the book is. Like I read it and I don't know. Like they're get into spoilers because I'll just tell you because you don't want to read it. Uh, there's this the main character's name is Tiff Tammon, and he's a part of a dinosaur rodeo. A dinosaur breaks out. Because it breaks out and they have to put it down, it gets sent back in time. It's this weird convoluted thing, and he gets kicked out of the rodeo. So then he just starts on this journey on this bike that is like DNA locked to him. And if people touch the bike, it makes them sick or it gives them diarrhea. It's like all this really weird stuff. So he's traveling across like Mad Max style United States, but you don't really know what's going on or why. Then there's random time jumps that happen in the story, all of it culminating to he finds this rodeo group to be a part of because he has this dinosaur. He wants to return the dinosaur. You don't really know why he cares so much about this dinosaur, besides the fact that it's this old dinosaur that needs to go back in time. Because in this world, there is a portal that exists that is pulling dinosaurs from millions and millions of years ago into modern day. And they tag them. And then to keep the timeline right, they have to, whenever they're done with the dinosaurs, they have to untag it and it sends it back to millions of years ago. All that being said, I don't even know why this book was written because it's really not about the rodeos. It's really not even about the people in the book. It's just a really obscure, like the author, even like just the different dialogue choices the author makes. Sometimes it's like, okay, I feel like I'm reading a sci-fi book, and then you're like, what am I reading right now? Like this doesn't even make sense to what is happening in the characters in the story. Um, it was just so clunky, so bizarre. I don't really understand the point. basically the book ends with him going and rescuing his orphan brother that's not his brother, but like they're as close as brothers. Um, and he rescues him, and then they have or get chased by a guy. But basically, he gets his brother back, and then he sends the dinosaur that he has been with back to prehistoric time. And then the book ends with him in a rodeo riding a dinosaur. So I guess from that standpoint, it is a boy with an accidental dinosaur. But this whole story, in my opinion, feels like a complete accident. I gave it a half of a star, just because it just felt like a total waste of time. I really wanted to like it. I really wanted it to be good, and I loved the idea of like going into the library, picking up a book I knew nothing about, nothing from BookTube or BookTok or any of the other places, having no reviews. And so as I'm reading it, finally I went on Fable and I was like, okay, I'm not the only person that's not understanding or connecting with this story, with this world, with what author has done. And I realized too, after I finished the book, that uh, all of the praise for the author on the back of the book is about his other books he's written. And I don't know anything about the other books. They're totally different. This is standalone. I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they're good. But like, it's wild that this book just came out, pretty new, and he didn't give it to anybody to read. And maybe it's because it's really, unfortunately, it's really not very good. So I would not recommend this to anyone. If the book was any longer, I probably would have just DNF'd it because it was just so clunky, so bizarre. Even I don't even know if the author was trying to say things symbolically without saying them. It was just very confusing. I didn't get it. I didn't connect with it, unfortunately. But that's not going to stop me from going to the library and looking around and picking up books that I have not heard of, because I think there is something fun to the hunt of going and finding a book that people aren't talking about and just discovering it for yourself. And unfortunately, sometimes it ends up like this, where it ends up being the worst book that I've ever read. And I have no ill will against the author. I'm glad I read it because it's going to make the other books that I read that I enjoy, it's going to make me enjoy them that much more because I disliked this one so much. But I'm curious from you, what is a book that you had really high expectations for, or you really were looking forward to reading, or you knew nothing about and you picked it up and it just was not what you wanted, not what you hoped it would be? What, in your opinion, is the worst book that you've ever read? If you've made it to the end of the video, it would mean so much to me if you would subscribe to the channel, where we're going to continue to talk about good books, bad books, books in between. If you could give this video a like, that would mean so much. And I look forward to reading your comments about what is the worst book that you've ever read. Maybe for somebody this book works, but unfortunately for me, it just didn't pan out. But there's more books, so more things to read and to talk about in the coming weeks.